SIGs, elections, youth, PWDs, elderly. It's time to vote for our leaders, June through August. From village to parish to district to nationals, youth, PWDs, elderly. It's time, go vote your leaders. No!
F1B!
Elections are supposed to be peaceful. Easy vote, okay?
Youth, elderly, and persons with disabilities. It's time to choose our leaders. Let's show up and participate in the special interest group elections. Starting June through August this year. Your vote, your voice. My vote, my voice. This message is brought to you by the Uganda Electoral Commission.
Don't miss on U24.
Entrepreneurs Hub, giving you a deep and unique insight into agribusiness, services, ICT and innovation, industrialization and so much more. Entrepreneurs Hub, growing your small, medium and large business entity. With yours truly, Sandra Kahonde.
My name is Doreen Tuhirire, coming to you from Be Money Wiser, and we're going to be bringing to you the hashtag 100 Ways to Be Money Wiser by Mrs. T. Tilda Nabandra. We're going to be running this hashtag 100 Ways to Be Money Wiser on U24 television. Don't miss out.
U24.
Good evening, welcome to the Checkpoint. This is U24 Television, the National Youth Development. My name is John Viana Yevare. Today I'm sitting in for Ivan Tumukunde, the host for this show. Today we are discussing governance and stability, politics, religion and culture. They are unanswered questions. Thank you for following us. Wherever you are, behind your television, live on social media. We are streaming live on YouTube. You can just go in, search U24 Television, and follow us live. Today, I have a panel, starting from my far left. Byomhanj Martin is a lawyer. Byomhanj, you're welcome to the Checkpoint. Please greet our viewers.
Thank you so much. Good evening, viewers. I'm very happy to be here, and I wish to congratulate all of you in whatever you are doing. I'm available for you today.
Thank you very much, Martin. Next, we have Valesha Ndagire. She is a lawyer. Valesha, welcome to the Checkpoint.
Thank you so much, Vianney. It's such an honor. I'm very humbled to be here. Thank you for the invitation, and thank you for the work you're doing.
Thank you very much, Valesha. Then we have Jack Msoke Katewa. You're welcome to the Checkpoint, sir.
Thank you, President John. Good evening, everyone. I'm really humbled to be here and ready to share with you my thoughts and opinions on this topic. Thank you very much. Good evening.
Thank you very much. The topic for today is rather intriguing. Governance and stability, politics, religion, and culture. Valesha, you're going to tell us about governance. What is governance?
There is so much, when I received that topic, I was really looking at what do we take as governance. I think I can just simply put it in this way of a layman's term to understand it. Governance is basically just the system of how you operate something, You can put it in business terms, how you operate your company, how you operate your business, that is governance. But now governance, we're talking about it in this format of a country. How are we running this country? How are we running the system? And how are we governing the people?
Thank you very much. And I think that is related to stability as well.
Yeah.
So when we speak of stability, what is that exactly?
Now, stability is more of, how should I phrase it? Keeping something consistent. You get my point, Vianney?
Yeah, I do.
It has to be consistent. When you do something nicely or something perfectly or something well, especially now, I would love to use it, governance and stability. When you're ruling a country, it is going to be stable. But when there are some loopholes, it's going to be a bit bouncy. It's going to jump a bit. So that will cause instability. So I don't know whether you get it.
Thank you very much. So Martin, the concepts of politics, religion, and culture, these three mean a lot, I think, to the people. What do they mean?
Religion basically is the face, what you believe in. And in Uganda, basically, predominantly we have Catholics and Protestants. In some areas, you find that when we talk of politics, they really rely on what is your religion. If I use an example of the just concluded primary elections for NRM, there are some areas where, if this is an area of Catholics, you find a Protestant having 0. You can imagine. And guess what? In that area, that candidate had there an agent who initially was supposed to hold his portrait.
I wanted us to come deep into that conversation a little later, but you clearly told us what religion is as faith and one's belief and all of that.
Yes.
And then culture, the concept of culture, what does it mean?
The concept of culture is like in Uganda we have, for example, the Bunyoro Kingdom, the Uganda Kingdom. There is, when you are in Uganda, there is what they believe in as their culture. And when you go to Bunyoro, they also have their Omukama of Bunyoro. What he says is what those people follow. Now, when you are in Uganda, they have to listen to what is Kabaka saying. What is a Katichiro saying? Because what they believe in is that if, say, you are going to marry in Uganda, you have to be keen on the person you intended to marry, whether you are of the same clan. And it is abominable, for example, in Uganda, for you to marry a wife of the same clan. Yes.
Thank you very much.
So when we talk of ethnicity, we have had so far, I think, the 3 presidents, Dr. Milton Obote, Amin, and now President Museveni. And when you consider when Milton Obote was a president, you would find that his kinsmen were benefiting then. And when Amin was removing him, was saying, this country, everything is going to Akokoro. Now, when also Amin came in, you would clearly see that people from his area, the Kakwas, also had their time to benefit. Now, when you consider the current regime, when you meet anybody would say, when we were in COVID, they used to say Gambano. Do you know what it means? It means when, for example, someone from West is stopped by a traffic officer. What he does, he simply makes a phone call. Talk with this one, and that is it.
That is it. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I want to go to Jack, and I want him to help us understand the intersection between governance and stability with religion, politics, and culture. Are these related?
Thank you again, President John. If we speak and concentrate so much on Uganda, this is quite an interesting topic because, in my own opinion, we have failed to get the intersection of these elements: culture, politics, and religion. Because just like Martin said, in Uganda, people are there's a way they mix these things. For example, there are churches that that are known to belong to some political affiliations. There are pastors, there are reverends, there are sections in this country whereby if someone gets a microphone to speak, they know that this person belongs to this political affiliation. So religion has been intermixed with politics. Our culture has also been intermixed with politics because when you look at our history as a country, the biggest instabilities we've had, they are related to culture. Actually, very few, it is interesting but true, very few are related to politics. But when you look at the Holy Cross movement in Teso by Alice Lakwena, religion. When you look at the Lord's Resistance Army in the north, religion mixed with culture. When you look at the recent one in Kasese, the Yere Republic of the Omusinga, you see that it is mixed with culture, with politics. So we have failed to get an intersection as a country. In my own opinion, I think it is a mess. It is a mess because even when we trace our history as a country and we go back to 1962, these whites, the colonialists, they knew that Uganda was a colonial era. That's why when you look at our history, even in our constitution, 1962, we were not a republic. These guys knew there was something wrong, and they still need some time to fix it. But because of our greed, we somehow rushed into a republic.
So would you have suggested we would had colonial masters a little longer?
In fact, that was the plan, because when you look at the 1962 independence agreement, the Queen remained the president, the head of the state, because there are very many things unanswered. For example, up to date, we still have the Buganda question. Buganda feels like it's in a forced marriage with Uganda. And actually, when you hear most of them speak, they usually say it's other tribes that came and joined us. We were not joined. You get it? So we still have the Buganda question that is still disturbing this country up to date. They believe that they are a semi-state within a state. So there are a lot of errors. So as a country, I believe we have failed totally to get an intersection between culture, politics, religion, which has resulted into instabilities. When you look at very many things, even the 2009 Kabaka crisis of Gerere. So I think we need to sit down as a nation and have a roundtable conversation about
thank you. I want to bring in Valesha, because you make a good point when you suggested that we have failed to balance these concepts, politics, culture, religion, with governance and stability. And you've given examples to that effect. And then you make a good example when you say we have religious leaders who have continued to show their political sides. They use pulpits to preach politics and all that. So I want to understand, what does the law say? Is it allowed, for example, for a religious minister to go political? Valesha.
Vianney, I was looking through the Constitution today and I was like, you do know that it provides for us the freedom of expression, okay? And it also provides for us the protection of religion, you get? But now, I want you to understand this. Before a person is a religious leader, first is a citizen, no? Uganda. The constitution is for the citizens. Exactly. So even him being a religious leader, you get, or even, because I'd want to do it also with the cultural leaders. These are like offices, you get. I don't know if all my panelists agree with me. These are offices, you get. None of them is born a leader. None of them, apart from maybe the Kawaka, maybe hierarchy, you get, in inheriting the throne. But before any of that, they are citizens and they have rights, freedom of expression. So it is about how he uses that office, you get? It is upon them, because honestly, I want to really go back to the 2021 elections, you know? How we're dealing with a pandemic, and then what happened in those elections. I think you saw that many religious leaders were actually very bitter. And I thought maybe that the religions would take a step back and let the people express themselves. But I want to agree with Jack. You would find a religious leader in front in their office or on their pulpit, and they start to attack.
I see.
Okay. So I'm with Jack here. They have failed to separate, but I want to bring this view of how about if they supported each other? You get? The reason why we like...
By supporting each other, what do you mean exactly?
And I'm coming to that. So you see how religion, first culture, yes, we are born and we find ourselves belonging to clans and tribes. You get? Me, for instance, I'm a Muganda. I'm of Mamba clan. That is beautiful. What does my culture say? How should I carry myself? You get my point? Okay. So I'm born in this family. It's a religious family. We go to church. Why am I going to church? Just the way they were explaining religion. It's about something we believe in. I'm going to church to learn about God. What does God say about us? Or what does the Islamic faith say about it? You go back to conduct. How am I applying my conduct that I'm being taught? The moral conduct. Okay, you get my point? Am I getting there? We have moved from culture. Culture also teaches us morality. You get my point? Church is also teaching us morality, or religion is also teaching us morality. So I believe that when we get to the point of politics, I'm expecting that we should be basing on these other two that are holding us together. You know how like we have the arms of is it government? Parliament. You know, executive, legislative, and the judiciary all supporting each other. I believe these three things should also support each other.
Support each other. Martin, how legal is it that if I'm a king of Wakanda Kingdom, suppose that kingdom exists in Uganda, that I wake up and say, my subjects, we are going to support this political party. How legal is that?
As my colleague has said, first of all, someone is a king, is a political animal. However, our constitution gives protection to cultural leaders. Okay? But I think there is a lacuna somewhere. It does not stop them from getting involved in politics. However, ethically, as a leader of culture, I think he shouldn't be directly involved, get involved in politics. Reason being, when he gets involved, you see, today you may get involved because even in the culture setting, like Uganda, there are also clans. And you find that the Kawaka has, for example, a clan where he or she comes from. And now, if today he's a candidate is of his clan, he comes out. But tomorrow, the candidate is of another clan. Vis-a-vis his clan, what will happen? So he should remain impartial, so that in an event that there is a stalemate, he's the one to call those who are having issues to settle them down. Now, when you compare, first of all, what you sow is what you reap. Where we are as a country now, you've had several religious leaders directly attack. You've also had the president saying, remain in your lane. Okay, remain
in your lane.
It means you are encroaching my lane. Because the president, I think, is telling them, for me, I'm a political leader. For you, you are a church leader. But when you internalize the church, you would also clearly see that there is also politics inside the church. The way they elect the bishops, you see there is also politics. However, ethically, I still believe that if this country is to get back on track, I believe church leaders and culture leaders to be able to help the citizens in situations where there is a stalemate. They should not directly get involved in politics, because what we are seeing in some parts of the country is that today, because even in a church, you find a church like in North Gaze Diocese, for example, where I come from, there are also different clans, and you would clearly see there is a clan that is always favored, which brings divisionism even inside
the church.
The church. Now, it means if that clan which has not been favored, in an event that they get an opportunity now, the bishop is theirs, and someone from the other clan is a candidate, there will be a problem. So, for purposes of having harmony, for purposes of the country remaining together, and also for respect, you see, respect is not earned. When you respect someone, in return, he or she will respect you. Now, if you get directly involved in politics, trust me, one day you will hear a bishop being slapped by a civilian.
I think, okay, thank you. That would be, assault, all that. Thank you very much for that opinion. I pick from Martin that there is need to regulate. You realize that before traditional leaders were reinstituted, because like you said, kingdoms had been abolished by His Excellency Dr. Milton Obote, 1966. But when the NRM government returned to power, it deemed it fit that they should return. And I think there were a lot of consultations to that effect. And then we have also an act of parliament which regulates traditional, institutions and traditional leaders and all that. Is it time to regulate, religions as well? They don't pay taxes, they're exempt as NGOs and all that. Is it time to regulate such that we have governance and stability? Are the operations of churches, other beliefs, not only churches, mosques, traditionalists, all that, are they on the loose? Do they need to be regulated them more? Jack, what do you think?
Thank you, John. Well, that's quite a sensitive question, but I'll give you my opinion. I believe religious institutions should have been regulated yesterday. Because, take for instance, I'm going to use our friends, the Muslims. It is quite clear that one who goes to Old Kampala does not go to Kibuli. it's just obvious that those are two different sections. That's not unity. One of the problems we are facing, the major problems we are facing as a nation of Uganda, is that we lack a uniting factor as a nation. I mean, John, you come from Chigezi. I come from Buganda. She comes from Buganda. I come from Chigezi. I mean, we literally don't share anything in common. We just share an idea of a nation, Uganda. The second uniting factor will be religion. But I suppose you're Catholic, I'm a born-again Christian. So, in the absence of a uniting factor, we don't have a common language, we don't eat the same food, we don't have the same norms. The second best alternative would be religion. But look at our religious institutions right now. I mean, there are some people who cannot meet religious leaders in Uganda. They cannot meet. Case in point, the born-agains. You speak to many of them and they tell you, I pray from this church, I cannot go to the other pastor. I mean, what's that? So I think in that aspect, we need to regulate them. Also, when we look at the economic bit of it, we need to regulate these people. These people make a lot of money. That is for a fact. And they're in two economies. They're in the day economy and the night economy. Sundays, they go to church. Wednesday, there's what? There's lunch hour. Starts at 11, ends at 2. I mean, if someone goes to work at 8, then by 11 they have to go for lunch hour, then return at 2. They have almost done half a day. Then there is night prayers. So these guys are enjoying money all over the place, and we need to regulate them. We need to set up a law that can regulate them. Of recent, I saw our Attorney General speak about the born-again faith people not registering now as NGOs. I think that is a step forward. And to be quite objective, when it comes to our laws and stuff concerning culture and everything we're talking about, I'll really applaud our legislators, our lawmakers. They have really done their part. Because when you look at the culture institutions, we have a full act of parliament regulating them. When you look at churches, when you look at all these things, the legislators have really done their part. But I think we are lacking on the part of civic awareness. We need to teach these people. We need to tell them, because we have contradicting situations day in, day out. NEMA tells you we have an act that controls noise pollution. Then you find someone putting up a church in a residential area, praying from morning up to evening when the volume is at maximum. So I think our legislators have done their part, but now we need to enforce these laws.
Thank you very much, Jack. A reminder that we are streaming live on YouTube and all other social media platforms. Please follow us and send in your comments, because in a short while I'm going to be reading some of your comments. I want to come back to you, Valencia. Jack says that we do not have a uniting factor as a nation. One who comes from the north, one who comes from Kigezi, from Teso, from Busoga. We don't have a uniting factor. Is there a crisis for identity? And I want you to discuss that in line with key stakeholders. Because these stakeholders, I think one of the obligations is to bring a nation closer to ensure stability together, and such that the governance is streamlined and there's stability here and there. So is there a crisis for identity in Uganda?
Yes, Vianney, thank you so much. There is, but before I get to that, from Jack's perspective, I do agree with him. Yes, I cannot say that the religious sector does not need to be regulated. It needs to. But when it comes to the economic part of it, okay, I don't think religions should be regulated in the economic part.
Such as taxing?
Yeah, taxing. Okay, I'm going to give you a perspective. Yes, I'm not ashamed to say it. Yes, I am born again and I transitioned from Catholic, okay? Now, I will not lie to you, he's right. Born agains fight each other, the churches. They do fight each other. But let me put this in the Catholic perspective, okay? Now, that money that they collect, you get, people say churches collect a lot of money and everything. I want you to look at the schools that are founded by them, okay? The Catholic schools. These are schools where you go to, I'll give you an example of a child that my mother looks after. She put him in a Anglican school, and the school fees that she pays for him is very little money compared to what a normal parent would pay for their child. You get, and yet the child is receiving adequate education like any normal other child would get. You get my point? So if they weren't collecting this money to fund other projects that may help society be a better place or build better, I want you to always keep in mind that when it comes to churches, churches are also rehabilitation centers or reformation centers. You get? These are people who are going to have degenerates who come to be like, okay, but I like that man of God, let me be next to that man of God until you get, and they reform into something much more positive. You get my point? I wouldn't even want to mention a certain somebody, but if you go back years before he stepped into politics, okay, this was the person you would never find in church. Exactly. You get my point? But now you find him in church. You get my point? And the religious, they upload him from being in church. So the economic part, I think we'll let the churches keep their money and they do something better to transform society. Those who are actually led by the honest heart. Because when you look at, for example, one of the churches I really like to give an example to is Watoto. I respect the church a lot. Because when you look at the children they feed, you look at the projects they do all over the country, you'll be impressed and blown away. And this is not money that, yes, they may get grants from other people outside the country and everything as a church, but also within the church itself. Because I used to study with some people who are from Watoto, but you'd sit down and listen to their stories of how they got into Watoto. And how Watoto is funding their education, how it is rehabilitating them. You get my point? So, economic part, the rest, maybe. You get my point? So now, back to my question for the struggle for identity. You know, that word, identity, causes a huge commotion in this era where we are. You get? Some will go to the personal identity, the gender identity. But now here we're looking at the identity crisis. To me, to talk about identity, I'm basically thinking, because I want to give it in a layman's term, somebody who can understand me properly. Fighting to be seen. Fighting to be known. Fighting to be acknowledged for what we are. You get my point? Now, when you come to the religions, when you come to the not even cultures, but to the tribes, when you go to politics, I beg, too much. Politics, this political party needs to be seen the most. Let's do this regardless of the life of people, the lives of people they are putting at stake. Looking at the common goal, which is good, but what is at stake? When you go to the religions, we want to be seen the most. We want to be the dominant ones. We want to be the ones that give the biggest opinion here. We want to be the ones to have the biggest followers. The religions are fighting themselves. And the funny thing is that when you come to the Christians, you're all fighting yourselves, but you all follow one book, the Bible. A Muslim cannot come and fight a Christian because you completely have different books you follow. However, even the books themselves find themselves, when you compare, you find yourselves following the same principles. So religions are fighting themselves, and yet, that is the one thing I could say, is what we could have what they call the uniting factor.
Okay, thank you, Valish. Martin, I wanted you to guide us in terms of political parties. Let's shed light on political parties and the issue of identity, because it seems to be a very serious concern in Uganda. How does it relate to the political parties we have? And I want you also to discuss, referring to the law, what should be done to improve that kind of status? Political parties, identity politics, and then the law we have.
First of all, I wanted to first give my opinion on the topic they have just handled about regulating churches. I think my sister put on feelings. Because when we talk of regulating, it does not mean that we abolish. No, we are saying there are those who are doing well. But the reality is, there are really those who are just there to swindle the peasants' money. Therefore, we honestly, I concur with my colleague that we needed that law as of yesterday. Because imagine, someone goes to church in the morning, she's there at the lunchtime, she's there at night. When does that fellow work? Well, tell me, when does he or she work? And poor mothers, because they have reverse psychology. They know now we have issues of most of our sisters are looking for husbands. It's an issue. Now they dwell on that. They know people are poor. They keep on giving you false hopes. There is no way you can get money when you don't work. Basically, you must work for you, go and pray, but also work. But if you are in church the whole night, it means tomorrow you will sleep. The other day you go to church. So if even God is to help you, how is he or she going to help you? So I really think we really need to regulate those churches. And you could see, you are giving a few examples of what, but how many churches are we talking about? About 100 churches, but you are giving example of one, which is doing well, because it's the one you believe in, or you get. But the fact of the matter is that 90% of them are just really a disaster. Back to the point. I started by saying that what you sow is what you reap. When you sow a bitter fruit, don't expect to reap a sweet fruit. Now, I think the time we made a decision to go multi-party, I don't think we meant it according to what is happening. When you see our political parties, the way they are fighting inside, and it affects the general country. And I personally have issues with elites. Because of late, elites thought politics is a dirty game, as it is said anyway. But you see, when you don't get involved, the one who gets involved makes a decision for you. Whether you voted him or whether you didn't vote him. And most elites, when it's time for voting, it's when they get time to go to farm. Guess what? The villagers will vote. They will just get their 1,000, 2,000, they will vote. And go and vote. At the end of the day, you have 500 members of parliament, but you only have like 70 who can be able to deliberate or to actually do the work they are supposed to do. But remember, coming to parliament, they come through vehicles, which are political parties. Even in political parties that nurture those people, when they are selecting their candidates, there is a problem already. Because you see, NRM has attempted to use adult suffrage. Whether it is working or not is a different matter. Now, NUP has decided to select. You see, there is also the problem. FDC used to use electoral college. But I hear they are also going back to selecting. The problem with selecting that you are suffocating the majority. And when you suffocate the majority, now after giving me a flag, I have to go to the majority. What happens? So, you clearly see now that where we are going, we are almost going back to individual merit. Why? Because when someone loses in primaries, he wants to come independent. And some have tried and they have made it. That's why when you check the members of parliament we have today, about 100 are independents who actually participated in the primaries in their political parties. Now, where you get the challenge also again is after someone has contested as independent. Now, when he comes to parliament again, he says, I'm leaning this party. The same party where he got challenges which forced him to contest as independent. After 5 years down the road, the same person goes back to the same primaries. He's subjected to the same primaries. He loses again. And you don't click.
On that, I have a question coming in for you.
Yes.
It is from Chichoncho Agnes. She's streaming live on YouTube. And she's asking, Martin, if you're contesting and there is a chance to win using a religious backing, would you take the chance?
Yes, I will. You see, yes. You see, we must face the reality. Taking it does not mean that it is good. Because what works for you today will work against for you tomorrow. Because today it is favoring you. But the question is, will it favor you tomorrow? What will happen? No, what we are saying that we should have a leveled ground.
What?
Yes, it should be a leveled ground that if I'm, say, a Muslim, look at the ability of the candidate. Leave alone, those are issues of the weak candidates of religion. Look at the ability. Is this person really, will he or she be able to represent us?
I thank you. In fact, one of the issues we've always dealt with is governance deals with, of course, the social welfare of all citizens. So if you have insecurity, for example, it does not separate to say this is a Catholic,
Absolutely.
this is a Muslim.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. We have more feedback.
Okay.
We have more feedback from Frank Nation. I see he's saying we are steering the wheel very well. Thank you. Then Samuel is appreciating Jack, that you're doing well. Samuel Schultz. Then Valesha, you have a question from Chichoncho Agnes, and I want you to take it on from there.
Okay.
She's asking, Valesha, how can traditional beliefs be used to champion togetherness since foreign beliefs appear to have failed? But now, someone who has confessed to be born again. So do you, first of all, agree that in this, aspect of governance and stability, maybe to add on this question, are there roles that traditional beliefs can play?
Why not? Traditional beliefs.
But maybe we could also start from whether traditional beliefs are evil.
I will have to tell you, I will. If people are attacking me, okay. I know you want me to answer with emotion, but I will not. So I will not lie to you. The fact is, traditional beliefs, it depends on a person. It all goes back to the definition of religion. What do I believe? Do you know that science is a religion? I believe in science. I believe in Newton's laws of motion. You get? I don't believe in any other supreme being or anything else. You get my point? Okay? So, traditional beliefs, the people who profess it will say they actually do believe in it. You get my point? That is what they really believe in. And that's what makes them comfortable. Catholics will tell you we believe in God. Anglicans will tell you we believe in God. Muslims will tell you we believe in Allah. Get my point? But now, traditional beliefs, they are evil, but some of them, a small portion of them, they are not.
Jack, do you agree?
Well, I was here thinking about my first law lecture. I asked
your first visit to a traditionalist.
No, I'll talk about that. When I was in my first law class, I asked one of my PAs, Mr. Darius Ruta. He brought a topic that is similar to this, and I challenged him. I told him that I want to, as you teach us the law, I believe that it is high time we listen to Satan's side of the story. Yeah, because we are lawyers. We believe in the principle of fairness, fair hearing, listen to both sides. So I told my PA, we need to listen to Satan's side of the story now. Then the entire class started looking at each other. I told them, then why are you looking at each other? I mean, we are listening things from one side. The person who claims that was not treated right is the one who's telling us the story and telling us how to behave. So now, for the principle of fairness to operate, let us summon Satan and we also listen to his side. The entire class laughed. But it was a very serious issue. So I don't believe that our traditional beliefs are evil. Because believe me or you, in the next 50 years, let's say 100, because 50 you might shiver and start shaking. In the next 100 years, none of us will be alive. President John, would you wish your grandchildren to start cursing you? I curse the spirit of my grandfather John. Yeah? I mean, that's how we have been programmed, but that's not right. Religion has been here for less than 210 years.
Are you sure?
Yes. It has been here, the first people to bring this modern religion, Catholicism, Protestantism, less than 200 years. But for example, the Buganda kingdom is what I understand. Best has been here for over 800 years. We knew how to count. We knew there was God. My name is Musoke. In Buganda, Musoke was a demigod, a semigod, something like that. We have other gods. I mean, there is a way we understood our God. There is a way we lived in harmony. There is a way we coexisted as people. But all these things started, the conflicts and stuff, when these religions were introduced. You get my point? So I don't think that something that came 200 years is much more qualified to be true than something that has been here for over 800 plus years. So that's my take on that. But present something small about what Martin submitted about our political systems. I'm sorry to take you back, but I would like to give you a quote. I will quote the late Professor George Kanyehamba when he was at Makerere, when they were celebrating the School of Law 50 years. He said, and I quote him, "One thing I love about the law is that it can restrain you and you don't feel its weight until you are reaching out to grasp and grab it, and somehow it is eluding. Because now you are running to it for safety and you just can't grab it." That was Professor George. And if we agreed in 2005 to go multi-party, I would even humbly ask whoever is in charge, let us stick to the rule of law. Let us stick to democracy. Because, believe me or you, one DF Mpanga said that for Ugandans for Uganda to be stable and that, we need to develop a nervous system, a central nervous system that can feel each other's pain. We cannot do such things if we do not respect the rule of law. regardless of your political affiliation, regardless of your religion, regardless of whatever you do, but basically the political affiliation, be it PFF in power, be it NUP in power, be it NRM in power, let us respect the rule of law. Because once we respect the rule of law, we'll give opportunity, we'll give chance to systems. Systems will grow. It's the systems that make a nation or fail it. Because when we go back to what Vadesha said, the definition of governance is basically a framework of how a country is directed and controlled. And governance is about two things, is categorized into two. It is either good or bad. There is no in between. There is no in between. So if we are looking at good governance, we need to tell whoever is responsible for this country, for decision making, to respect the rule of law.
Thank you. We have Opale Frank has been following us for some weeks, and thank you, Opale, for keeping it on U24, especially on the checkpoint. I want to go to Martin and pick it from Jack's point. Which way should we go as a country? Because it appears, I think most people agree that our politics are being tainted in terms of religion, in terms of, identity, culture. You come from the West. Martin, I don't know which party you support, but if I see you from the West, immediately I may think you're NRM. If I see Jack, I say he's from Central, probably he's NUP.
Well,
if one is from another, a park. Last week we had Otim Bernard from a patch.
But we could as well as be falling under the Common Man's Party.
Absolutely, the Common Man's Party of our colleague Baraka Munyagwa. So, I mean, which way should we take? Should we adopt a state religion for the first time? Because the Constitution prohibits state religion. Should we say we have a single religion to be united? Should we say we are all Vaganda? Which way should we take to ensure that there is stability in governance?
First of all, I wouldn't want to take the ethnicity path you are taking. I'm a Ugandan. When you read our laws, to me, I believe we have good laws. The framers of the 1995 Constitution, I think they did a thorough job. They came alive to all aspects. Article 4 of the Constitution provides for creation of public awareness of the Constitution. The Constitution was made in 1995. It's now how many years?
It's
30?
30 years. Yeah, 30 years. Going to 30 years.
But you can imagine Article 4. We have never dealt with Article 4, which calls for public awareness of the Constitution to be put in our local language, to be translated into our local language. Do you know any constitution in Uganda? But the constitution stipulates under Article 4. And it is a mandate of the government and the institutions to translate it into local languages. What was the intention? The intention was that every Ugandan must be able to read and understand, because it is in English. They came to arrive at the fact that most Ugandans are not educated. But when you translate it into Runyankole, Ruchiga, Rugabura, Ruwata, Ruganda, someone is, and not only interpreting it, but making it available. There is a time, I'm lucky that I have traversed this country, the whole of it 5 times. There is a time I went to, I made a catasecor on some districts. But you can't imagine that the whole district does not have a constitution. A whole district. Now, the one that you would find it now, you cannot find a revised one. You get the point? Now, if the district does not have a constitution, how about the sub-county? So it means that even the LC5 chairperson, the LC1 chairperson, has never seen a constitution. So the intention of the framers of the 1995 constitution, they came to alive the reality that Ugandans must be able to read and understand. Now that we failed to do that, that's why we have a challenge in electing leaders. When you attempt to go to rallies and you listen to those who are contesting, you find a member of parliament, what is telling the populace is contradicting his mandate, his constitutional mandate. So it means we are voting and we don't know the role of the member of parliament, we don't know the role of the chairperson LC5, we don't know the role of the LCC chairperson, but we are voting. Now where is the problem? Can we go back and make our constitution, interpret it, and make it available? Then political goodwill.
Thank you, Martin.
The last point is political goodwill. Do we have political goodwill? Now that we have good laws, do we have political goodwill?
Valesha, which way? As I'm going to be getting the last remarks, and I'm going to start with Valesha, such that you can tell us from this discussion, what are the key takeaways for you as a person? And what should our viewer go with?
I'm really enlightened by what Martin just said, the last point of Article 4, the awareness of the Constitution, is actually right, because as you were speaking, I went back to some of the situations where I was interacting with people, and I would ask them, do you know your rights? You get? When you look at how, let me borrow your words, the laws are good, but the awareness
lacks.
It lacks.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Jack, your last remarks in this regard.
Thank you, President. Mine will be something I've always told people. It might sound contrary to what my colleagues have said, but I believe, and I preach this message everywhere I go, Uganda is at a state whereby we need to adopt the federal system of governance, because this formula has failed to work. From 1962, the formula has failed. Let us try something new. Let us sensitize people about what federalism is. The problem is that when you talk about federalism, people think it's about Buganda, because Buganda started it. Federal Yabaganda. But it's a very beautiful concept. You find people struggling to go to the USA. This is a federal country. Look at Nigeria, the giant of Africa. It's a federal nation. Look at our neighbors, Kenyans. They are semi-federal. They are ahead of us in East Africa. Nigeria is the biggest in Africa. The US, where most people, apart from me, struggle to go. You get. You get. These are federal states. If we adopt the federal system, because in absence of a uniting factor, like I said, in absence of religion uniting us, I think it's high time we adopt the federal system of governance.
Thank you. Martin, your final remarks?
I still insist that we really need a political will of our leaders. There is a time when you would check a political party and you would see that when this one is not there, this one is in line. I will give you an example of FDC. When you check FDC of 2011, 2016, you would see that when FDC, when Vestige is not there, Munti is there, Latigo is there, Regan Okuma, Arsaraso, Musumba, Nandala Mafadi, you get. There's a time when you would check NRM and you would see when President Museveni is not there, you would see the Amamas, you would see people. You understand? But when you check all political parties, you go to FDC, you see Amuriat, look up around. You go to NRM, you see President Museveni, you say, if President Museveni is not there tomorrow, who is next? You will not find. You go to NUP, the people that was following him, you see now there is. Now, when you go to, I think now the new formation of PFF, I think they are now even stuck trying to convince Vestige to come and do what?
Contest.
And contest. Where is the political will? If you are a leader, are you nurturing someone behind you so that in an event you are not there, takes the mantle, go back to our constituencies. You find someone has been a member of parliament for 25 years. Up to date, he does not have someone he can say, okay, when I'm not there, let Venasa take over.
Thank you, Martin. Thank you very much. My guests, Martin Byumanji, a lawyer from the Law Development Center, Valesha Ndagire, a lawyer from the Law Development Center, Jack Musoke, a lawyer from the Law Development Center, and to the viewers, thank you for joining us this evening. Choke Point comes every Tuesday, 9 p.m. up to 10 p.m. here on U24 TV. We are live on your TVs, but also we stream live on social media such as YouTube. The Checkpoint is where truth is spoken and voices are heard. The cinema is next at 10 p.m. Stay tuned and good night.